what are you looking for in both of these problems? A percent. When you work this problem out, remember a while ago I told you when you put a percent in, you've got to change it before you put it in? When they give you the percent number back, it's not going to be as a percent, so you have to change it back. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's a reverse. Anytime you take a percent and you want to put it into a problem, you have to change it to a decimal form. You cannot work within a problem in percents. When it spits it back out, it's not going to give you a percent, it's going to give you a decimal. You're going to have to change it back to a percent. Makes sense? What percent, what is what percent? That's what you're looking for, correct? X of 50 is, does everybody understand? What percent is X? Of means times. 50 is means equal. And if you want to, look at that. I could just do it right over the top of it. What percent is X? X times 50 equals 5. Divide by 50. No. This is where y'all are making probably more mistakes. This is 5 divided by 50. If you have 5 pieces of candy, think about this. You have 5 pieces of candy, and you have 50 friends. And you divide your 5 pieces of candy amongst your 50 friends. Does each person get 10 pieces of candy? No. No. Because you only started with 5. How are you going to give everybody 10, right? 5 divided by 50, guys, that's a small number divided by a big number. That's a fraction. That's not 10. You're doing 50 divided by 5. 5 divided by 50, what do you get? 0.1. Then you move it over twice. And I told you a while ago, it's going to give it to you as a, which y'all might have been getting ahead of me. 5 divided by 50 is 0.1. Move that over twice, that is going to be 10%. Was y'all just getting ahead of me, or were y'all dividing that and getting 10? Yeah, okay. You divided and got 10. Yeah, be careful on that, because that is where we're making a lot of mistakes. So y'all be careful. What percent? That's just, it just so happened to work on that problem. It's not, yeah. Do what? 1 through. Will work what? It really might. But I wouldn't trust that. I would just do every one of them the same way. Divide top, divided by bottom. So this one's what percent of means times 350 equals 70. So here we go, hang on. Joey, raise up and do this last problem for me. Show me how to, what percent of 350 is 70? How do you do that? You try it for me, Randy. This last problem, try it for me. Okay, 350 equals 70. Does that? Let's work this. What percent X times 350 equals 7? You can do it right on top of the problem. If you want to do it in your book, as long as you erase it, I don't care. When you have what percent, put you an X over it. When you have of, put you a times over it. 350. You have is, put you an equals over it. So the question is X times 350 equals 70. Careful. What are you moving over? You did it again. You're moving over 350, so you're going to, instead of times 350, you're going to do divided by 350. Good. So in your calculator, 70 divided by 350, 0.2. You know how you can do that in your head? Let's take 70 over 350. Let me show you an even easier way. Just reduce that. Can anybody tell me what goes into both 70 and 350? 70 will. That's 1 over 5. Isn't that the same thing as 2 over 10? Which is 0.2. But anyway, that's still not the answer, because it says what percent. It does not spit out percents at you. It spits out decimals. Just move it twice. Move it twice. Make it too hard. 20%. From a decimal to a percent, move it over twice, there's your answer. Well, it's in front if you want to put it there, 020, but that looks funny, right? Next problems. Percent of change. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of different things to go over today. That's the reason I'm trying to keep y'all awake and keep you with me. Percent of change is easy. Percent of change, you find the ratio of change, which is this, the amount of change over the original amount. And then you change that to a percent. That's all you do. Because I told you, if you do amount of change over the original amount, if you divide that, it's not going to give you a percent. These problems never spit percents at you. You always have to change them from decimal to a percent. So watch how easy this is, though. 12 to 15. I want to know how much that changes. By what percent does it change? How much is it growing? If it starts at 12 and grows into 15, how much did it grow? Here's how you do it. The first thing you do is find the amount of change. How much did that change? It changed by 3, not by 3%. It changed by 3. It went up 3. Over the original amount. Where did it start? Everybody see how easy that is? 3 over 12. Is that a percent? No. That's a fraction, right? How do you change a fraction to a percent? You divide it. 3 divided by 12, 0.25. You're doing 12 divided by 3. Careful, y'all doing it backwards. 3 divided by 12, that's 0.25, which is 25%. So how much did it change? It changed by 25%. Easy. Makes sense. Let's do one more of those. Was that a 25% increase or a 25% decrease? It went bigger, right? So that's a 25% increase. The next one, 20 to 15. 20 into 15. That should be a decrease here. It decreased by 5. What was the original? 5 over 20. Somebody divide that. 5 over 20 is 0.25, which is going to be 25%. And you would say it's a 25% decrease, not necessarily negative. You sure could. How would you do it? That's it. Get to where you try that. 5 over 20, go ahead and reduce that in your head since you can. That's a fourth. You already know what a fourth is. You don't have to divide it. That's 0.25, which is 25%. Good job. Nearly done. 2 word problems, I think, and we're finished. Do it. Example 4 says Tim has reduced his cholesterol by 20% by dieting and exercise. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. His original level is 238. What is his new cholesterol level? This is easy. Easy. Yo, watch this. He reduced it by 20%. 20% of 238. Think about what I just said. 20% of 238. How do you find 20% of 238? Of means times. You're simply doing, that's the times 0.20. When you plug it into it, you got to change it. So all we're doing is 20%, 0.2 of 238. Somebody type that in and tell me. Well, you're going down 20% of that is how much you're taking off. You're taking off 20% of the 238. That's how much it's going down. So that should give you 47.6. But let's talk about that. Is that his new cholesterol level? No, that's how much it went down. He took off. It said Tim reduced it by 20%. So if it goes down 47.6, we're going to take 238, and we're going to take off 47.6. Can anybody tell me that's got a calculator what that is? 190.4. That's his new cholesterol level. Okay, Jim paid $25.85 to purchase a shirt that cost $23.50. Stop there. Why in the world would you pay $25.85 if it costs tax? Makes sense. Let me show you. This is a neat little trick. If you want to find out, because different cities have different tax rates. If you ever want to find out what the tax rate is for that city, here's a good way of doing it. Well, you can look on your receipt most of the time, but sometimes it's not listed. It'll just say tax, and they'll give you an amount. He paid this much. The shirt cost this much. It says, what was the tax rate rounded to the nearest percent? And it gives you a good hint. Find the percent of change. Remember this percent of change problem's up here? The amount of change. First off, we're going to find the amount of change. How do you find the amount of change? You subtract the two. Can anybody tell me what the amount of change was? $2.35 is how much it went over. Over, what did I tell you? $23.50. The original amount. The original was $23.50. It went to $25.85. That's ugly, right? Use your calculator. 235 divided by 2350. Try that again. $2.35 divided by $23.50. Really? Yeah, I get 0.1. You know why? Because, let me show y'all a trick. You can, okay, 0.1. Let me show you a little trick. If you have decimals mixed in with fractions, let me show you what you can do. The top one, you can move it over twice as long as you move the bottom one over twice as well. You see that's 235 over 2350. You know what both of those are going to be divisible by? 235. 235 into 235 goes once. 235 into 2350 goes 10 times. 1/10. Which is 0.1, which is what percent? So what's the sales tax? 10%. That means, and a lot of people, you hear the old ones, you'll say, how do you figure sales tax? And they say 10 cents on a dollar or something like that. 9 cents on a dollar, 8 cents on a dollar. That's how they describe it. You know what that means? On a dollar. On a dollar. Think about that. A dollar's 100, right? 100 cents. But again, what does that mean though? 10 cents on a dollar. That means that you're going to pay 10 cents for every dollar. 10 out of 100, that's a percent. 10 cents on a dollar is the same thing as saying 10%. 9 cents on a dollar, same thing as saying 9%. So any questions on that?